Okay, I think we're live. I'm gonna need anybody who's watching if they can just confirm that they can see and hear us.
Anybody who's
That's all
watching,
good.
if they can just confirm.
There you go.
Yeah, we are definitely live because I have the YouTube link open, and so I just had an echo from us, so I just muted it.
Awesome. Okay, great. So awesome. Yeah. So yeah, this is the first time I'm doing this live, so I think this will be the format going forward. And it's nice and simple. And I'm here with Daniel, and who probably needs no introduction to anybody who's watching at this point. But Daniel is the CEO and founder of the Proof of Work company.
Okay,
And
I am a founder. I'm not the CEO, but I don't think we have
who is
official. We don't have
Okay.
official job titles like that. But I am not acting as the CEO. But well,
Okay.
I would say Stephen is more like the CEO.
Okay. Founder of the Proof of Work company, legendary Bitcoiner, going back a long time. And I think to get us started, Daniel was going to use me as a guinea pig to demonstrate some Proof of Work company apps. So if you'd like to explain maybe what we're going to get into, and I'll figure out how to share my screen.
Okay, well, thanks for inviting me, and thanks for the introduction. What I've been working on is proof of work as an upvote system. So we have a protocol called BoostPOW that enables someone to make a Bitcoin output that has a hash puzzle encoded in it that uses the same function that is used to validate the proof of work on Bitcoin blocks. And so then a miner can redeem this this output using the same infrastructure that he already has for Bitcoin mining, and then you have a completed hash puzzle that is attached to whatever data you want. So the idea is that we want to use it as an upvote system, and this will be a secure upvote system, unlike the ones we've had in the past. So it will have it will allow people to transmit relevant information to each other, which currently they can't do using the social media algorithms that are available right now. So and if you want to look into why we think it'll work, you need to read the books The Handicap Principle by Motz Zahavi and The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins.
Right. Which are, books about the evolutionary process of ideas, right? Would you say?
Well, that's what Richard Dawkins is about. So I would say I'm combining. Well, I mean, most of The Selfish Gene is about genes. The stuff on memes, that's really what we're using here. But that's a small part of the book. But yeah, Richard Dawkins came up with the idea of a meme, and a meme is just an idea, but it has a different word that sounds like gene, and that is intended to be evocative of the concept that an idea is a replicator, and the same type of theory that you would use to talk about the population dynamics of genes can also be used for ideas. So Dawkins thinks that ideas are in competition for replication in our brains, and the evolutionary theory that he's talking about in the rest of the book applies to it. So then Zahavi's book is a different idea that's also about evolution. But that one says that the only honest signal of fitness is a handicap, and a handicap is basically a waste that stuff that is thrown away right in front of you. It's waste that you can verify easily. So what I think the problem we have right now is that it's the same as the problem that the peafowl would have if the peacock didn't have the peacock tail. And that problem is that the females would have trouble finding the fit males. There'd be too many unfit males who are lying to her about how good they are. And she'd waste too much time finding the good males, and as a result, all of the children would be mutants. So I think that's what we have now with ideas. And I think that if we add the peacock's tail to the idea, then we have a system where the good ideas have an advantage in replication that they don't have now. So I think if we use proof of work as an upvote system, then everybody will have good ideas a lot more quickly, and we won't have the proliferation of bad ideas that we have now.
So you spoke about how it's the miner's job to redeem the proof of work, right?
Yeah.
So did I maybe I missed in your explanation or something, but is that something that is like an extra layer on top of the regular mining process? Is it like an extra like software to run or something, or is it something that they would do regularly as part of the mining node process, running the node software?
Well, you would have to write software. You'd have to make software that would be able to do this, but the protocol uses the same function that you use to validate Bitcoin blocks. So in theory, the same infrastructure could be used for the BoostPOW protocol. But right now, we're not doing that. We're just doing CPU mining. But yeah, eventually we want to link it all together into a mining pool so that this will be an additional source of income for the mining pool.
Awesome. Okay, so I have an update on sharing my screen to try out. Unfortunately, they want me to restart Chrome to do it.
They want what?
They want me to close and restart Chrome in order to share my screen because it needs to update it or some nonsense like this. So I don't know. I think closing will end the stream.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's do it because I won't be able to show you what I'm working on.
Yeah. So
you can't share your screen.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna see. Let's see what happens. Okay. So I'm gonna quit out. You might be alone for a second. So
okay. We'll see.
Feel free to try it out. Okay.
Dooby 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 doo. So fortunately, the stream is still going on. So I don't know. I guess I'll talk to chat. Hey, is there anybody in chat who has something to say? Bitcoin SV channel says Bitcoin SV scaling massively. Go go go. World Builder, and that's Shirish, I guess. Feel free to post any questions. So no questions yet. Please post some questions. And
okay, I'm back.
Shirish is back. All right, we're all set.
Did we? Well, definitely. So did you? Was there any interruption in the live stream? We're all good.
No, the stream is still going on.
Excellent. Okay, great. Love to hear it. Okay, so I'm now sharing my screen.
Okay. Yeah, it's working.
All right.
So but I told you to use the Brave browser. Well, that's Google Chrome, so that'll work the same way. Brave browser is just based on Chrome, but I haven't tried
I'm
doing
sorry.
this with Chrome before. So
Well, I had to. Well, it's a good test. I had to download Chrome to do the stream, so it's like browsers are really something else, because I'm usually a
Okay.
Safari user.
Okay. Well, the first thing you have to do is log into RelayX.
All right, I'm gonna do that off screen.
You should be able to just share one window. By the way, usually they let you do that. So
Okay,
instead of sharing your whole screen and letting us see everything, so and you need to turn off shields on RelayX. So I'm not sure how that works in Chrome because I've been using it with the Brave browser, but
what do you think about using Safari? Is that going to be even worse?
I don't have
Safari-
any. I just don't know how to get it to work on every browser yet. So ideally, we would be using Brave browser because that's the one I've been using.
Okay. Well, all right. I'm gonna try. Let's try Safari. We'll try with the worst. I think that'll be educational, maybe, and then I can. I'll download the Brave browser if we really need to. So.
Okay. Well, I think the point is that you need to enable cross-site scripting.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay. So then try going to askbitcoin.ai. And try to log in with RelayX. Okay, well, it doesn't look like it's working. So,
Yeah. But earlier. Okay. All right. I'm gonna get the Brave browser. So yeah. In the meantime, if anybody watching has any questions. So tell us a little bit about what we're going to see.
well, we're gonna look at two websites. Hopefully, one of them is askbitcoin.ai, and the other one is powstream.com. And askbitcoin.ai has a question and answer format similar to Quora, and PowStream is it's an overlay on top of YouTube that indexes YouTube videos on the blockchain and allows you to boost them.
Wow, excellent! Sounds awesome. Yeah, and to everybody watching, appreciate you guys forgiving my technical limitations. We're getting better every time. Okay.
Well, I mean, they're really my technical limitations because right now right now these sites aren't too easy to use, but we'll make them easier as time goes on.
Well, I have to say, today when I logged in this morning, it felt like the Palco site was like way smoother than I'd ever kind of seen before.
Well, yeah, we can look at that one too. There isn't much you can do on that one other than look at content.
Right.
Don't show us your password. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm not. Well, okay. Well, you won't. I think it'll. Okay. I don't know. I thought it would start out. You're not going to see it.
Okay, good.
All right. And it did. Thank you, Jack. starring out passwords. Login failed. All right, we are logged in on Brave. Okay, and then we're going to ask Bitcoin.
Askbitcoin.ai.
Is that right? Yeah.
So you need to turn the shields off for both RelayX. So the little lion, the lion shield.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So click on the little lion. Oh, you got it. Okay, and the same for RelayX.
All right. I hope I don't need too much ESV because I only have like a very minor amount in this.
Okay. Well. Okay, that looks better. Well, now it looks the same as before. And try going to /questions.
Cool. Is that logged in?
Okay. Well, it seems like it was working.
Okay.
So let's see if you the last time we tried it, that just didn't. Well, it should take you to the
Oh, that's
main
great.
page
So
after you log in.
Right. Well, I've noticed that on a lot of Bitcoin apps. It's like the authorization is like a little finicky and stuff. But that means it's likely that it did work on Safari and all that. So that's cool.
Okay, so now we're looking at the top questions of the week, and you can change the filter. But I think week is good. Week is a pretty good. Okay, all time we can look at that too.
You know, I always go to all time first. You know.
And so now it's not showing the total difficulty though. So I don't know what happened with that. But let's look a week, because then we see the difficulties on everything.
Mm-hmm.
So here, what question are we looking at? What do Bitcoiners need the most right now?
Yeah.
So the top answer is lots of A to Z tutorials showing how to program using Bitcoin. And the next one is music. And
oh, that one's definitely not correct.
So you don't think we need music, or you think we
need
music
music
more than anything? We
do. You know, well, it's my opinion as a musician that we never really need more music.
Okay. Well, I don't agree with that. I think beauty is a costly signal, so we always need some of that.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, well, it's tricky. Well, we'll save that for after this demonstration.
So powcode.dev ordered by BoostPOW rankings. That was the next one. And that one, powcode.dev, is another site we're working on that doesn't work yet. But that one is going to be really great when it works. And it allows you to index issues on GitHub on the blockchain.
Awesome.
and boost them. So we've been trying to use that to talk about what things we need to fix next, but it's been too broken to actually use, but it's going to be great when it works.
Mm.
So why don't you try, well, I mean, if you think of something, you can try making a boost or boosting a question or answer.
I'll try. So I'll say a service that allows people to earn more Bitcoin by spending the least Bitcoin.
Okay, well, I don't know.
It's
I think you
uh-oh.
should be finding that for yourself. Other people aren't going to give that to you, but
Well, yeah, but I mean, that was the question, right? What is needed the most?
okay. But that's not a service. That's being an entrepreneur.
All right, fair enough.
So what happened? Did you get logged out?
I think it may not have logged in.
So,
Make sure.
try reloading the page. So, and go back to RelayX.
Yeah.
And shields are off there, so that's working. I don't believe this. I mean, this works. This works when I do it. I don't know what's wrong. So I guess we won't be able to demo actually boosting anything. So what does it show on the lion when you click on it?
Shields are down.
I can't see it. It's not being shared when I
Oh, okay, yeah.
when you
Well, it
click
says
on it.
shields
So
are down. I'm in the
okay.
settings.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. Cross-site cookies disabled. Let's see. That should save. All right. Okay. Relay. Okay, I'm logged in. Now we go to Ask Bitcoin. Oh, that's nice. What? That's great. That's a great feature to add right away in the beginning.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you like that. But I mean, it looks like I don't know what to tell you because I told you what I do to
Yeah.
make it work, and it's just not logging in. So
Well, let's I'll try again with Safari, see what happens. I don't know if that's going to do any better. But well, otherwise you could show me the other service. Do I need to log in to see that one? At least to see the
no,
service.
you just can't do any boosting. So yeah, we can skip that part. But
Well, yeah, let's
it's
just
too
walk
bad
through.
since that's the main point.
I agree. Well, everybody, not everybody has a good reason to go try it for themselves.
So yeah, why don't we just look at the other site? So this is powstream.com. So here are top boosted videos today.
How does it already know? This is a because it's past. I thought it was YouTube for a second. Oh my god, you've already.
Well, it's just those some BSV themed websites have already been programmed in. So
Awesome. Wow.
why don't we go to all time boosted again? Because we're just looking at top today for now.
Hell yeah. Whoa. Hey, it's us. Somebody's already been boosting us. Well, okay, Daniel, can you explain to me what does it mean? What does difficulty refer to?
Difficulty, one difficulty is approximately 32 million expected hash operations. And it is the difficulty of the Genesis block. So it's used as a unit of expected hash operations in Bitcoin.
Okay, so anything less than one difficulty is what is it, like below average or something? Would you say? Is that an
No,
average unit?
it's just less. It's an arbitrary unit. I mean, one difficulty doesn't mean anything other than 32 million expected hash operations.
Okay.
It's just like a meter or a kilogram or something like that.
Sure. But so these are all so these are clearly ranked by their difficulty. So when
Yeah.
you upvote something, you are adding to its difficulty.
Yeah.
Very interesting. What is it? Where do things start? At 0?
Yeah, you can't have negative expected hash operations. So now, why don't you go search for a video? Just go in the search and just look for any video that you like or anything. Just
Well, this
search
is cool.
for
I know
something.
this. I know this is a good song. So, all right, let's search for
Aha! See, it's working.
exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So, anytime you watch a video, it's indexed on Bitcoin. So if you
Right.
just go to any new video that we don't know about yet, and so now if you go to latest, just go back to the main page. You should see this video listed on the bottom. So somewhere around here.
Right. Okay. So this is just purely engagement based, like top today, and then the higher up you get, this is where like you get some stuff that's been upvoted.
Yeah. So
Oh, there, yes,
yeah.
right
So
here.
these, yeah, there you go. So yeah, these videos, the ones that don't have a difficulty listed, are the ones that people have watched and not boosted.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
This is great. I mean, this looks great. It's very smooth.
Well, glad you're enjoying. But basically, I showed you everything so far. So
Amazing. What is it?
maybe,
What does it take for us to get on this sidebar here?
that is a good question. But I would say the version of PowStream that would be most in line with the idea of Boost would not have a sidebar that recommends well-known channels.
Right.
So
That makes sense.
so I don't know. I think Steven just programmed that in, and that's just how he did it. But and those are just some videos that the first users of
This is what I'm talking about.
PowStream have been watching.
Oh, so this is what you've been watching.
Yeah. This is all under Daniel Krawisz. Not some of that stuff doesn't look anything like it has anything to do with me.
Right. That's why I'm. Yeah,
FTX CEO fails at crypto. Wait for it.
I was very curious. This sounds doesn't seem like something you'd watch.
Adam Back is Satoshi Nakamoto. Okay, so the sidebar is a joke. We've discovered that.
Yeah.
Not all of these videos are relevant.
I like it.
But this is really nice. I'm glad someone went and found all of those.
Well, you know, testing is a great, you know, fun thing. You know, when I made the game I made, you tried it, right? The little endless runner game.
Yeah, that was a while ago. I think I remember that though.
Yeah, that you know, hopefully we'll get on Haste as soon as I you know, figure out how to do authentication and stuff. And that game, I posted it, or I was watching a friend's Twitch stream, and she plays like retro games, and I put the link in, you know, and was just like, "Hey, try my game," and she tried it, and that was fun. And then some guy just like emailed me and was like, I broke the game. And he sent me a video of him, like he figured out how to do a wrong warp, similar to like early Mario games where you can basically jump out of the level. And it's a game where like all the obstacles are in the level. So he just jumped out of the level and was running on the top outside of the screen and got like a score that was so high that memory of the game couldn't even display it anymore. So I was like, wow, that's, you know, that's pretty funny. But it's like I would know. I at this point I had made like dozens of people try it, you know, many people and all that, and it took this one guy to like basically figure out how to completely break it. So fun stuff. Testing is so important.
Yep. Well, well, anyway, hopefully next time you'll be able to log in. But in the meantime, I don't know, do you have
Great.
anything more to discuss?
Yeah, well, we can always, you know, there's so many things are happening in this crypto universe, and
Okay, wait a minute. Sorry, but I just got some good advice, because what I showed you was the old version of AskBitcoin.ai,
okay,
and we should actually try the new version. So try next.askbitcoin.ai.
okay, let's do it.
So this version isn't live yet. Okay, and now
Okay,
that
yeah,
looked like
here
that was correct. So maybe it was, I don't know, maybe it's just the
okay.
the old site is broken.
Oh man. All
So
right, hold on. I'm gonna send myself $1 of BSV. You can explain while I do that.
okay, well, you know, we've already well, I mean, this is the same thing we saw before, except the interface looks a lot nicer. So we can't see the amount of difficulty unless you turn off Zen mode, but basically all of these questions are ranked by difficulty, and this is
Hmm.
all time. So what should we do next is the most highly boosted question, because that's kind of what we're always talking about. So we're using this site ourselves to figure out how to continue development.
Mhm.
So, well, you know, this is something that I think people didn't understand when I first tried to explain the idea of what I was doing to people. Boost is really, it's something that the entrepreneurs need more than the end users. So
Mm.
when I would try to talk to people, they would try to think about how to incorporate Boost into their apps. But really, like, you should want to use Boost before you put it in your app. You should just want it for
Right.
yourself. Because now everybody needs better information, but entrepreneurs need better information more than normal end users do, because entrepreneurs are the ones taking risk. So they're in more danger. So
What happened?
so
Uh,
so we've been using the site to figure out what to do.
mm.
So all of the accounts are anonymous. In fact, I think we should just get rid of the account names. But
Yeah,
maybe
just
someday
totally questions.
it'll say who posted the questions.
I like it.
And so why don't you try try boosting some? Well, yeah, you can try.
Watch World Builder YouTube. I'm such a low quality Bitcoiner. Let's see. All right, awesome.
Okay,
Great.
so now try boosting that.
Okay.
Okay, it's working. All right.
All
This is
right.
great.
Well,
Request failed.
how much? Well, that might be because I just sent myself $1.
Well, it should only charge you 5 cents. So that
Okay.
should not be, you should be
Okay.
able to handle that.
Let's see. So Excellent. Okay, so
Okay,
5
now it works.
cents. 5 cents is equal to 0.025 difficulty. Is there some kind of rationale behind that particular?
No, that is a completely arbitrary number, and that's actually something that I was just working on before we started. Is a way to estimate a good default price. But no, that's just a number that that was put in there. And
Is this who asked this question? It doesn't really say. This is a company question. So I didn't even
could be. I mean, ultimately, anybody who is using the site can answer it. So I would say we would mean all of the people reading the site. But right now, yeah, before now it was mainly people in my company. So that's kind of what it meant at the time.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
now
this is great. I love the kind of Quora-esque you know, I mean, it's like it's a lot of fun just to use. Like, okay, let's see. What's a question I could ask Bitcoin? You can't ask a question you already know the answer to, right? I mean, that's
well, I mean, there wouldn't be much of a point of that. I mean,
yeah,
I think good questions are ones that provoke thought. So yeah, I mean, things you would want to know, but also things that you know, would be important discussions.
right, right. But then, you know, on Quora, a lot of the questions that get asked, or at least the ones that find their way into my email inbox, are like very, like, I don't know. They're like, I get like in my emails, I get questions like, "Is Taylor Swift a nice person?" You know?
Okay. Well, but
There's room
um,
for everything, you know. Eventually,
yeah. Well, I mean, it just depends on what's worth money to you.
mm,
So to me, I would want to save my money, so I would only want to boost important questions. But hey, sure. I mean, the whole point of Boost is that people with bad ideas lose all their money. So feel
right.
free to ask a dumb question and boost it as much as you want. Oh, wow, this is a really good question. Yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Let's see what
Okay,
else.
great. That's pretty interesting. I'm gonna go boost that question
Awesome.
as well, I think. So let's see if I can find it.
And okay, so I just got to ask: when somebody answers or boosts, do you get any of that payment?
So there is a price to create posts through the website and to make boosts, but those are separate outputs. So if
Mm,
so, the price the price that's actually in the boost output goes to whoever mines it, and so you could create your boost output outside of the app, and then you would be able to make it however you wanted. So you would be able to put in a different price or whatever you want. There's a lot of stuff in the protocol that we're not using yet. So you can also add tags and stuff like that.
mm.
So I got to your question and I just boosted it myself just now. And
All
it takes some time to get mined, so you won't see it right away. But if you check
right.
the site again tomorrow or a little bit later on, you might see it show up.
So your current so I'm waiting on somebody's CPU to mine the difficulty increase. Is that
Yeah. Well,
correct?
yeah. So, well, that's gonna kind of a good point, because maybe we could talk about mining on our next discussion. I don't. We're not. We don't have something for that to make it easy for anybody. We have software that that we've been running, but yeah, you can. You can mine these things yourself and earn the satoshis in the output.
That's that's awesome, and I'd definitely like to discuss that and be a part of that when that's available.
Okay, great.
Jack Lou needs to get out of my DMs making suggestions about how to improve Boost API.
Okay, yeah. Why don't we look at this question? That's a good one. It looks
This
like
one?
that one hasn't been. That one we're looking at last hour, but that one definitely has been boosted in the last week. So if you go to last
Okay.
week or something, you'll see. Um, um,
Are the by the way, is this like this up here? Is this a TX ID?
yeah.
Okay.
So okay, it doesn't look like it loaded quite right, so something didn't work. But yeah. So well, I'll just tell you the story of that question, and
Yeah.
so AskBitcoin.ai was originally based off of a suggestion from Jack Liu, and so originally I didn't like that idea, because to me a better website would be one that does pictures and memes, like something more fun. But I think the question and answer format was really good for kind of communicating the idea to people and just showing them about what you could do with Boost, because it's just kind of more obvious that we're having important discussions. Anyway, so he saw the latest version of the website, and he started telling Raphael a bunch of suggestions for how to make the website better. And so, but now the problem is you have to actually use the website in order to give us suggestions that we would actually pay attention to. So in Graffin's paper, Biological Signals as Handicaps, he proved that males with no handicap deserve zero attention. So if you have a suggestion on how to make the site better, you have to put it on the website and boost it before we will look into that idea, because otherwise you're like a male with no handicap.
Yeah, which makes perfect sense. Also seems like something he would agree with.
Well, I don't know. I'm not paying attention to him right now.
Fair enough. It seems like you've had your hands full. Well,
Yeah.
you're putting into action what Jack is still, trying to convince people about. Really.
Oh well, the question. Yeah. Well, well, I think Jack is convinced of it intellectually, but
Yeah. No, what I'm saying that Jack, who's a brilliant guy, is really like this is another thing. This is a maybe a bit of a tangent, but like, we keep coming back to this idea of like concentric circles of like who's closer to the Bitcoin, core, the black hole that's in the center of Bitcoin, and it's
right,
like
yeah.
there's everybody's like like you have like a person like Kurt Wookert, who's like out there trying to like convince people to even look at Bitcoin, you know. And then you got people like Jack, who's trying to convince people within Bitcoin to look at it differently. And then you have, you know, Daniel Krawisz very close to the center building the thing, you know, actually doing it. So
so I'm going to send you another link.
yep.
Do you have a money button?
Yes,
Okay,
I
because
do.
we're going to need that one next. But one of the questions on the site reminded me of something that would be good to talk about.
All right. Money button has not worked great for me recently, but let's see. What are your thoughts, by the way, on like, would you use Handcash as a wallet for integrating with these services?
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to send you a link that doesn't require money button. We can try the money button one, but
Well,
that
I
really
logged in.
just has information. Oh, okay, great. Well, yeah,
Yeah,
let's go to the first link first. What was, sorry, what did you just, Handcash. So
yeah.
we are working with RelayX for a number of reasons, and one of them is that RelayX is very aligned with the kind of thing that we want to do.
Yeah.
So that was the second link. Go to the first link. And RelayX has a really good NFT system. So we want to we want to be able to work with that. So right now we are doing exclusively RelayX. So here is a blog post, and this explains some information for an NFT sale that we're doing. And this is for fundraising to get askbitcoin.com. And so this just explains what you get if you fundraise. So you get askbitcoin.com exclusive founders commemorative artwork designed by the creators of Ask Bitcoin. Upon completion of the sale, the new askbitcoin.com will be launched for the entire public, and you get early access to brand new askbitcoin.com. And there's Ask Bitcoin tokens associated with askbitcoin.com that give you, those are the ones that give you the exclusive access. The next version of the site is always going to be available only to the people with tokens. So you're basically like an early you're an early beta tester if you get the token. So that's that, and then the next link is the RelayX market site for doing the for doing the fundraising.
Which is this page.
Well, that's what the NFT looks like when it's face down. But after enough people get it, then we're going to reveal the real artwork on it.
Awesome. Well, great. And let me just offer that me and my team, we're more than willing to create like a piece of content for you if you'd like a video with music or an advertisement or a commercial or something to that effect. Anything to contribute.
Hey, well, that's pretty nice. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll let people know. That'd be kind of cool. I mean, yeah, maybe we could have a music NFT for fundraising something later.
Yeah. Nice.
So anyway, that got that the sales pitch out of the way, but
Yeah,
but yeah,
everybody go and support Daniel.
okay.
Truly.
Well, thanks. So so we basically went through the websites. Do you know about Blog Post?
I've only really I actually heard about it through BitChat. And hey, hello. No, yeah, I am honestly a little turned off by how it looks. But what's cool about blog posts?
Well, the technology behind it is really important.
Right.
So they have a data structure that is a good standard that you can use to make any kind of kind of data that's going to appear in a website. So like, excuse me, you make this social media out of it, and it is all on chain, and it's a distributed protocol. So
Very cool.
so not like Twitch. Twitch is only partly on chain, but you still depend on the Twitch servers to see the content, see everything.
Why do you think that is? That Twitch is, because a lot of people, me included, thought Twitch was all on chain.
Well, I think that Twitch is a really important step forward, and I like Twitch a lot. That's probably it's definitely the BSV app that I used the most before we got some of these BoostPOW apps working.
Yeah.
And I think people can take things farther. They took one step, but they don't. I don't think they have the bigger picture. So to me, like the issue is, do you want to be aligned with Bitcoin, or do you want to be aligned with your company, or which do you want to be more aligned with?
Right.
And to me, it's better to stay aligned with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin has a lot smaller chance of failure than any Bitcoin company. So to me, like if you get too involved in your company and too little involved in Bitcoin, you're taking a bigger risk than you need to, and it's really better to. I mean, I think people should make companies whose purpose is to support Bitcoin as a whole. And if you do that, the company doesn't really even need to be profitable. I think the company really can just entirely serve your speculation on Bitcoin. But of course, if you can actually make income with the company, then that's even better. I mean, that's like the best case scenario. But if you if you're if you're a Bitcoin miner, then you would want to increase the transaction rate. You would want to increase the amount of data being processed, and the kind of app that would accomplish that would be more like if you're doing a social network, let's say, the kind of app that would do that would be a distributed social network that had a common protocol, and any of the miners would be able to display it, and they could do like different versions of it. Maybe they could compete about, how nice website looks or something, and that would be something that would be a lot better than just a than a company that was trying to maintain control over their protocol and data.
Right.
So
So let's can we maybe, because I understand that very, intrinsically, and I feel like this is something that Jack, is really, he's the one who kind of got me to fully understand that, like,
yeah,
because
Jack definitely understands this stuff, and yeah, I
right.
mean, that's one of the main reasons why we would want to work with him.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I guess I think it's the kind of thing where once you understand it, you don't even, it like feels like trite to kind of go back on it, or to try and explain it in a way. But just like, just for anybody who's watching who doesn't, fully, hasn't fully absorbed what this means, why do companies on Bitcoin, why are companies on Bitcoin best positioned if they are purely dedicated to Bitcoin rather than their own company?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, I would say that it has to do with risk, and it has to do with what's likely to fail and what isn't. So I would say Bitcoin as a whole is much less likely to fail than any Bitcoin company. And well, I mean,
Well,
I would
because
say that
people have to understand that any company. So okay, yeah, there's two parts to that almost. So like people have to understand that any company that operates with or on Bitcoin is completely tied to the well-being and health of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin economy as a whole, right?
well,
Like,
and so there's also the issue of competition, which I was just anyway, like if you're Twitch and you're competing against an open social network distributed protocol that all of the miners can work on, then it's sort of like being it is the same thing as being a centralized service and competing against a distributed protocol that has free entry. So like if we have an open source social network, anybody can get into Bitcoin and become a miner and make a much better version of that social network so that it's the same thing with the same data and the same users and everything, but just, I don't know, do something better with it, make it look nicer, or figure out how to attract lots of new people to it or something. You just got a kind of competition that that's a lot better. That's just going to win a lot more than if you're just one company and one group of people, and you're trying to compete against that,
right.
And not saying that Twitch doesn't have a great team, but they don't have a system where anybody can just join in and unilaterally make Twitch a lot better,
Yes, and they're doing that on purpose. Like that's obvious enough, because like the Twitches themselves, you can read on BitChat or something, right? Like it's not like the Twitches; it's like the actual content. I don't know about the images, but the actual text of the Twitches is on chain.
Yes, some of the data is on chain, but not all of it.
Right.
So you have to go through their servers for some of it. I'm not sure exactly what the difference is, but I mean, it's also encrypted, right? So you would need to talk to them if you want to get the decryption key.
Right. So let me ask you this: are these questions on Ask Bitcoin, are these questions on chain, and can I see them on something like BitChat or on like in on chain transactions or what have you?
Yes, they are. Each of those questions and answers corresponds to a TX ID, and all the data is right there. And yes,
Yep.
you
There
could
you go.
just make your own version of askbitcoin.ai. I would say that if you wanted to do something like that, you would probably also want to engage with us, since we already know the most about it. But
Well,
yeah,
what do you think? Sorry.
theoretically, you could just totally make your own version that uses all the same data. And yeah, if you can do that and make it work a lot better and nicer, that'd be great. Um, so and all of the boosts are also on chain,
Mm.
and so you would have to do the work of collecting all of the data and putting it all together. But yeah, you could do a competing askbitcoin.ai that collects, or pow.co. That'd be better, because that's sort of everything that gets boosted. You would just have to put all of that information together, and then you'd have a competing version.
This is very interesting. So, what is the on-chain nonce here refer to?
Well, that has to do with the map protocol, and it's the same thing they do on the blog post that we were just looking at, but I don't really know what that means. I haven't personally worked with it, so
Mm.
I've mainly been doing some stuff on the back end, so I haven't been designing these websites myself, so I can't. I haven't worked with that protocol directly, so I don't know how it works.
But the idea being, so this on-chain app refers to this address, which is the address where this question comes from.
I guess I know. I don't know. I
All right.
That's the first time I've seen any of that stuff.
Okay,
So
great. So, so do you see? Because here's something that I think is really brilliant, which is like the idea that you can, I wrote an app where for the first time, thanks to Joshua Hensley's tutorials, I could write directly to the chain, and I had my transaction. You can look at the text, and then it shows up on BitChat and retro feed, and all that. So the idea of like write once appears everywhere seems really great to me. I think that that's the kind of interoperability that we've been talking about in terms of like social content at least. So do you see a future where Boost is so it's so ubiquitous that like you could like write one social post on one service and it could get boosted like all over on many services? Do you see that sort of that sort of thing?
well, yeah, that would be the ideal way of doing it. Yeah, I mean, uh, I think the best way to think about Boost is that it's just an upvote system. It's just upvoting everything, and you wouldn't really want to. Yeah, I mean, if something is boosted, you would want to see it, even if you were not unaware of the website where the information was originally boosted. So I think the ultimate version of a boost would be like it would be kind of like Reddit, except with all of the posts of all the social networks put together with like a Reddit overlay to it. So
Right.
you would see like a feed of tweets and 4chan posts and whatever other things, YouTube videos, whatever
Yeah.
stuff, whatever information people post, whatever.
And that could be, and that's just because Boost is a protocol. So if anybody implements that protocol, they can let's say they don't implement the Boost protocol, but they're still like getting straight text out of a transaction from a block or something, right? That's like somebody wrote on BitChat. And let's say BitChat has the Boost protocol implemented, but like Facebook does not, could you still get that same transaction? Would it still appear on all these services and stuff?
Well, I don't quite understand the question. I mean, what does Facebook have to do with
Well, I'm just saying,
anything?
like, let's say Facebook goes on chain, right? And Boost is
Oh,
a
yeah, right.
yeah.
Yeah, so Facebook, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, let's say there was yeah, well, I mean, yeah, we're already doing that with Twitches. So if you boost a Twitch, it'll show up on pow.co, but it will not, I mean, the boosting will not show up on Twitch. You won't see it
Right.
there, but you can boost Twitches and we'll display them on pow.co.
And so all that's stopping Twitch is implementing the Boost protocol. And
Yeah,
then now
well,
they're
but yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, that is what's stopping them. I mean,
right.
that's why they ultimately won't win, because they only want to do their own ideas, and they
Their
don't
own
want to be
algorithm.
like, they don't want to be something that is about finding the best from whoever shows up, you know.
Right. Which you know, is its own kind of hubris. But that's the thing, like we will, you know, with what you're doing, you're demonstrating the validity of the ideas. And you know, I mean, to me, the real beauty of this metanet is this idea that like everything becomes interoperable, you know, and everything, you know, I guess like is protocolized, you know, if there's a better word for that, where like, yeah, any like the idea of like a Facebook post being, you know, just like a type of content that can be displayed and interacted with on numerous sites, but like not with the not with having to actually go through Facebook to do it, but rather just because it's on chain, it happens, you know, instantly.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, I mean, well, I don't want to call the Twitch guys hubristic. I don't want to call that hubris, because that's kind of like everybody. I mean, they were ahead, but you know, things are moving fast, and they don't know how to be ahead anymore. So pretty soon they're going to be behind, and that's what happens to everybody. It's always it's you know, I think
Yeah.
you always have to try to understand what's happening next, but you know, eventually you won't anymore, you know.
Well, so let me ask you, because you know, someone like Jack would say that that's the right that's great, because Twitch has basically won in this early period, right? They've raised, you know, 10,000 BSV selling sweatpants and sweatshirts and stuff, and that's like the ultimate win. And they could shut down tomorrow, and they'd really be good in the coming Bitcoin future. So, like, what do you think? And like that's just really a fact, you know what I mean? You can argue with how it feels, but like it's really a fact that Twitch has won today, even if they lose tomorrow. So what do you think? Like, do you think and it's not really even to speculate on Twitch, but like Twitch is a company, they position themselves as like, we're in this for the long run. We're, you know, the is it Twitch that says they're the interface to Bitcoin, right? So like that's like a pretty
Yeah, that's what they've said. Yeah.
right. So that's a very long-term kind of you know, statement to make. But like Jack would say, you know, they could stop working on Twitch today, and they've already kind of won and done good for Bitcoin, right? Because then now it's just waiting for the next Twitch, right? So yeah, what are
Yeah,
your
well,
thoughts
I
on that?
mean, well, you know, I mean, you know, Twitch could, you know, they could continue growing for a long time. And you know, part of excuse me, you know, part of the success of what we're talking about depends on the users understanding it too. So to me, like what I'm doing is good for people who have woken up, and it's good for people who, you know, who understand that they're being abused and who know they need something better. But you know, most people aren't like that. So you know, maybe what I'm doing isn't going to be as big as Twitch for a long time. You know, I think Twitch is a lot more appealing to you know, everyday people.
I honestly,
So
I'm not so sure of that. Honestly, I feel like Twitch is it's appealing because I guess it's like familiar. You know, people know Twitter and stuff. But to be honest, I think Quora is more appealing to the average person. At least coming from where I come from. You know, like
okay,
Twitch.
well,
I think
that's
Twitch.
nice to hear.
Yeah, I mean Twitch. I think the problem with Twitch is very the problem with my problem with Twitch is that I don't like Twitter, and I don't think Twitch has differentiated itself from Twitter that much. You know,
Yeah,
it still has like the problem of like kind of winner takes all. Like it's still everybody in Twitch actually arguably because Twitch hasn't implemented any sort of boost protocol. Uh, Twitch, basically somebody who has the most followers wins on Twitch way harder than Twitter because at least Twitter has volume of people. You
well,
know?
yeah, well, that's the whole strategy, right? One of their guys, Aaron, is connected to Hollywood, so he knows celebrities. So he's saying like, once we are happy with the website, then I can talk to all of the celebrities I know, and they will want to make money, so they'll get on the site, and then they'll attract lots of other people to the site, and so then so that's how they're going to win, is because they're going to be attractive to popular people, and then the popular people are going to draw in everybody else. And so
That sounds like a complete loss of a strategy. I'm not
well,
gonna
I mean, you know, that could totally work, and they'll make a
remains to
ton of
be
money off of it if it does. But what they'll
yeah.
end up with is another social network that's not as good for getting good information. They're going to end up with something that can still be manipulated. I mean, they won't be able to delete content as easily. Um, but I mean, they do have delete implemented. So I mean, maybe one day when the FBI calls them up, they'll delete the Twitches, and they'll delete the private keys for any of the posts that the FBI doesn't like,
Right.
and you know, it'll work the same way that Twitter does now. Um, so and to me, like a big obstacle with with talking to people about what I'm doing is it's just hard to convince people that the method that I'm using does actually result in better information. And to me, better information is more valuable than anything. So, I mean, of course,
Yeah.
people should want that. But, you know, if somebody is thinking like, well, it's a lot easier to make money on Twitch than it is on askbitcoin.ai, I'll use Twitch again. But ultimately, the problem with that is people who are not using proof of work to boost content will not know what's important. So
Well, I think you've done a really amazing thing, as far as I can tell. And again, implementation remains to be seen, right? Because it's still a bit theoretical. But I like the idea that you found a way to kind of eliminate the attention grabbing aspect of like putting information on the web, right? Because like I could go into what do Bitcoiners need the most right now, and I could say something totally left field, just a complete joke, right? I could really troll that post hard. And if I did that, people that would read it would like it, but that wouldn't necessarily translate to paying 5 cents for your upvote, right? And that really kind of changes the game a little bit. So like you're relying on the idea that if 100 people read it, maybe half of them or even more laugh at my joke, but the majority of them are going to end up upvoting the actual valid information that they got something out of instead.
Well, yeah, and yeah, well, it would be great if you came on and tried to boost terrible ideas, because we would make the money off of that. So
Yeah,
that would be
well,
fine as far as I'm concerned. And well, yeah, well,
that must be the
thanks for
Twitch
what you
strategy
said.
as well. Sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to get in an argument, well, they want people to get into arguments
They
because they
want
make
people to get
money.
into
Yeah.
arguments. Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for what you were saying. And yeah, well, my argument with people is you should want to use the site even though it doesn't work very well yet, because what it offers you is better than the inconvenience of trying to figure out how to log in. So
Well, I
to
have to
me,
say
like,
this is pretty smooth. I mean, this looks pretty good, and I have to say this dark mode is very tasteful. This is a more tasteful dark mode than you typically see.
oh, well, I'm glad you like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, it's like the same thing people say about Relay. People are like, oh, Relay is so shit. And it's like, yes. However, the service it offers is like actually unparalleled. So, I mean, that's the thing I feel, and not to get hung up on that topic, but like, it's like people don't understand that the fact that this service is unparalleled and it looks like shit is Jack basically challenging someone to parallel the experience. You know, he's literally, you know what I mean? And
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I was working with Dean on this for a while, and he made a version of BoostPOW.com, but he could never understand. He could never understand what I was telling him, and he would always say like, "Well, the website needs to look sexy," and then I would say, "Well, proof of work is already the sexiest thing that there is, so
yeah,
no, it doesn't."
yeah, I agree. Oh yeah.
So, well, this is our new version of BoostPOW.com, not the one made by Dean. This just shows all of the
Oh
all-time
yeah. This
boosted
look,
art.
yeah.
So it just pictures and all time.
Well, this is much
And
better. The one that was before that kind of looked like this, right? But it was like really weird. That one,
well,
looks pretty weird.
that was what I was doing with Matterpool, which was the previous company that I was involved with. But yeah, nobody else there really really understood the idea of a boost very well.
Hmm.
So we did make some progress on it, but ultimately they just
Oh,
I
this is
wasn't
great.
I was they weren't really good people for me to work with.
Well,
Not saying they're not good people, but they were not good to be my my partners.
all right. Well, here I've somehow discovered after clicking on this picture. Oh, I clicked on read the white paper. Okay.
Oh yeah, so that
So great.
goes to a
Yeah,
link
I posted
on
that in chat. Everybody, go take a look.
yeah, and could you post the NFT marketplace on the
Sure.
video too?
Yeah. That would be
Just go back.
on here.
You're gonna just press the back button a few times.
Where? Here? Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Oh
not
no,
that.
not that one. Well, it's in the chats. It's in the chat, the
I
private
will. I
chat,
will.
so you can just post that in.
All right, everybody. Do you want the blog post or the actual? All right.
The could you post the RelayX market link and then copy the text of the blog post?
No problem. Excellent.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, man. And everybody go buy Geist music as well. But I don't need to say that. Let's see. I don't know if this will actually post the whole thing into the chat, but let's see. Great. Okay. So yeah, thanks to anybody who's still watching at this point. We'll definitely be open to taking questions. Well, might as well go ahead and ask you, what do you think of Chat GPT? I think that's an AI chat engine.
I don't know anything about it.
I think what Mr. Pooley is getting at is people are using AI chat to write code. I think that's because like people are using it to write copy and stuff, whatever. That's boring. But people are using these chat engines and stuff to write code.
Okay, well, that's nice. That sounds great.
Yeah. I'll leave Ask Bitcoin up. So all right, let's talk about what's in the news. What are your this Sam Bankman-Fried, I saw Josh Hensley, he had like a video where he was like wordplay through history, and like the guy's name is like Sam Bankman-Fried, and like that's like Sam, what did he say? It's like scam, bankruptcy, fraud, And I was like, well, that's great, but like the real thing is that his nickname is SBF. He's a 3-letter agency. I think that's the real
Okay.
joke,
Is there an agency called SBF? I'm not familiar with
No,
that
no,
one.
no, no. But the idea is that he falls into like the same like through line, of like people, even the fact that he has a nickname. I kind of hate. I hate like these sort of nicknames. Like a nickname should be used on somebody that you actually know.
Yeah, well, I
not
mean,
some moron on the internet, like some idol.
well, I don't really think I have anything on SBF that hasn't already been said. I mean, this kind of thing has been going on since Bitcoin got started and since a long time before that. And I don't know, people just
Yeah,
won't learn that you need full reserves, and they don't understand. They they just keep getting screwed by the same scam. It's been going on for centuries.
totally. And okay, so one question I have maybe two questions on the subject. One is the first one is, do you have any insight into how how interconnected and leveraged are these exchanges and services on each other? Um, and this something like Terra Luna, right? That was a stable coin that was pegged to some cryptocurrency, right?
Yeah, I remember when that happened. Um, I mean, I don't have any insight on what's going on behind the scenes with any of these things, and I've never worked with exchanges or
Yeah,
I've never done any of that. I mean, I think um, I think you need to understand how these things work, though, because um, lots of people will say like Terra Luna, Terra Luna was going up before and there was nothing wrong with the price chart, and then all of a sudden it was zero. It was just gone almost immediately, almost overnight.
right.
And uh that can happen with anything. because there can always be hidden information. You know, investment is about survival. Okay, and for anything, for any kind of thing, there's an infinite number of reasons that it might die. And so if you buy something, you have to at least understand the most important of those reasons. And people aren't just going to tell you what they are because they don't know what they are. That's kind of what capital markets are about. They're kind of rewarding people who do know that stuff, and they're punishing people who don't know it. So it's kind of, if you buy something, it's your job to understand how it works.
Right.
And in particular with these, well, of course, that isn't really supposed to be how it works if you are putting your money in an exchange, but you are getting a good if you put bitcoins in an exchange, because you're getting SBF bitcoins for real bitcoins.
Right.
And theoretically they are supposed to be equivalent, but if they are not, then you are going to be the one who loses out because of that. So it's probably going to be impossible for the people who lost money to get their money back, because the money doesn't belong to the exchange anymore. So although it's not supposed to be their responsibility. I mean, it's not like they bought stock in the exchange. What they did was they got an account with the exchange.
Right.
But effectively, that account puts them in the position where they have to know these things.
Well, I think also, I mean, because like he's said that the US version of FTX is completely solvent, which like is probably not true, but that's what he has said. And that's like just probably an indication that whatever, fraudulent behavior they were doing with the international was not possible on the US, or it was managed differently, or there are different, regulations or checks involved in the US so that it couldn't do that.
I mean, I wouldn't believe anything he says. I mean,
fair enough. Yeah.
That SBF is just no good. No. But I mean, could be true, but just because because he says something doesn't mean anything.
Okay, well, let me I'll ask you I have a second question, but before that, let me read you this tweet from Nobel Prize winning economist Paul Krugman. Our favorite guy for sure.
Yeah.
And this is what he said. It's funny because I think this is like the realest thing he might have ever said in a lot of ways.
Okay.
He says, according to this Twitter account, Bitcoin is saving. Krugman says, everything about cryptocurrencies is fraudulent. They are not real currencies. The industry is one big Ponzi scheme. The selective outrage over FTX's collapse is misplaced. SBF took money from fraudsters and donated it to good causes. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh my God, that is horrible. Okay, well, that is an interesting perspective.
Right.
So he's saying that SBF is the good guys because they're philanthropists.
Well, don't you feel like, because I don't know what the philanthropy. I mean, when you have fucking goo goo gaga money like that, you can throw it at anything. But
Now, I mean, well, first of all, philanthropy is just another way to scam people. I mean,
agreed,
so that's what
agreed.
we've seen with the Rockefeller Foundation and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yeah,
So, no, I don't. Philanthropy means nothing.
right,
Uh, if you're wealthy and you're giving lots of money away, that doesn't mean you're doing good things, because you can use that to try to secretly control things from behind the scenes. I mean, that money
right,
can be going to things that ultimately serve you by some circuitous process that is not
right,
easily understood. Um, you should just buy proof of work with that philanthropy money instead.
right. Which is the future that we'll get to. That's inevitable at this point, I'd say. But what do you like? Don't you think that my theory on what Krugman says is that in many ways he's actually ahead of the curve, because in the future of clown world crypto, that's what the mainstream narrative will become on SBF. That he was part of he was a good guy, good guy, I say in quotes, but like he was a guy who helped bring down the evil crypto. And
Well, I mean, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because we know that he is connected to people in high places, and so like the elites don't want him to go under. So, excuse me, maybe they'll try to rescue him, and yeah, that kind of makes sense. I mean, yeah, maybe that'll be, and of course, Krugman is connected to all that stuff too. So
for sure,
we might imagine that he is uh, simply expressing the view that has already internally been decided upon.
yeah,
So yeah, that makes sense.
yeah. I mean, we don't need to linger on the subject, but when you really, this event might just be the cherry on top of this clown world crypto thing, right? Because like the fact that FTX failed is, again, nothing new. Seen it happen many times at this point. But what's really the cherry on top is the fact that the guy just is like still like around. Like he's like online, he's doing Twitter spaces, he's doing interviews with various people, appearing at New York Times events.
Well, yeah, and they all thank him. They're all like, "Your lawyers
Yeah.
probably told you not to not to say anything." So it
Your
was very
lawyers,
nice of you to
yeah,
to
how
tell
great,
us everything.
how gracious of you. And I mean, it's like this thing where, because like, how the hegemony loves humiliation rituals, right?
That's
But
my
like this is,
impression of him.
yeah. Well, they they're like, this is like a faux false flag humiliation ritual where they're like making him apologize, and it's like an apology is like it's the least desirable thing at this point. Nobody wants to hear this guy apologize. It's like actually so awful every time he does it. It's really like a slap in the face.
Oh
Like it's
yeah.
really
Well,
what an insult. Um,
well,
but
yeah. Everything he says is a lie. So
I mean, it's
well,
tremendous,
doesn't matter. He can apologize all day. It doesn't mean anything.
right?
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
just wasting your time.
it's a tremendous it's a tremendous thing. I mean, it's like, because at least like when you like Do Kwon, he's like I remember Do Kwon was that you'd see Do Kwon is on the run. You'd see Mount Gox. People thought that was like illegal. I don't even know all the other cases, but anytime some crypto entity goes down, people are like, there's like this there's this understanding of like illegality, like it doesn't touch regular people, it's like on the black market side of things or something. It's this dark thing. But FTX, it's like completely the opposite. This is like the guy became a celebrity because of this. So I think that really speaks a lot to where we are. Maybe we're reaching some sort of zenith or turning point or breaking point, but maybe not yet. You know, maybe it's got to get crazier.
Well, yeah, I mean, you don't, yeah, you don't, I mean, you don't know when you've reached bottom. You don't know when that is. That can only be identified
Yeah,
retroactively. But yeah, I mean, uh, I guess I would say I don't think, I don't think that BTC is done going down. For now, I mean, that's not investment advice. So, but I'm
yeah,
I'm expecting things to get worse for crypto overall.
right.
I don't know what that'll mean for BSV, um, but I mean, I think things are going really well for me. I mean, I'm really happy actually being able to create all this stuff that I've been talking about for a while, and to finally be working with people who get it. Um, and yeah, it's going really great.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, you know, like BSV is constant optimism. There's always something to be optimistic about in BSV, I think. Just as much as there's something to be entertained about. There's always something to look forward to. There's always, I mean, because I mean, I think I saw some YouTube video or I like moused over it, and it was like it was an ad for why it was an ad, it was an influencer video, just but it was really an ad, and they wanted, it was for Masterworks, which is like art investment. It's like a fractional investment of art, right? Um, which I also don't agree with at all.
I don't understand what you're talking about at all.
Like they're saying, like if a painting is worth like $1 million, you could put $1,000 in and own, you know, 1.1% of the painting.
Okay, so they're doing stock in paintings. Okay.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So the
Yeah.
that's the thing, and the whole video was like this influencer, like nobody has faith in the future. Everybody, and I'm just using this as an example to something that I see everywhere, which is like all the young people. Nobody is either really concerned with the future, which is like fair enough, or they are the feeling is that the future is darker than the world we live in today. And
Well, yeah. That's the nice thing about BSV is
right,
it's the only place where everything else is corrupted. BSV is the only place where we can have growth. So
yes, yeah,
everything else is just screwed up.
yeah, and it's a great source of, you know, optimism and hope for the future. Okay, speaking of corrupted, that just brings to mind. Well, okay, I had one more question about the exchanges. This is a quick one, which is every time an exchange goes down or whatever, they always claim that they are hacked, right? That's like a
Oh
thing
yeah,
that
yeah.
happens. What do you think? Do you think any of these hacks are real? Are there any? Because again, this is the type of thing where it's like if you weren't there, it's been memory hold. It's like forgotten to time, you know.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're real. Uh, no, I mean they just say that. I mean they were
Would you say that?
they were hacked by their own stupidity.
Do
That's
you think
they come pre-hacked. That's how they are.
they're pre-hacked?
Yeah.
The that's hilarious. Do you think that? Do you think that that sort of thing will ever be revealed? Like, is it possible to to bring that to light?
Well, well, yeah, we just have a really big problem with attention spans or something. I don't know what you call it, but yeah, I mean it's sort of like we're trapped in a dream and we go through cycles that that repeat, and things get get forgotten really quickly.
Hmm.
But I don't think things have to be that way. I think that I think that what we can hope for now is to be out of these cycles ourselves, and to be people with historical context who are not trapped in a dream. That's what I'm looking for. So to me, those are like the people who would want to use Boost, and who would be with me on a Boost platform. And
Right.
if you're somebody who's trapped in a dream, you can't use Boost because you run out of money. Like the only way that
You wake up
um,
real quick.
yeah. So that's what's great about it, is it forces you to wake up.
Right.
It just makes you think about everything you say really carefully. And excess energy. I mean, eventually, I think all excess energy will go into proof of work. So anybody who's trying to live in a dream just won't be able to anymore.
Hmm.
So that's kind of what I am looking forward to, and I hope we can get there as quickly as possible. But for now, I'm just looking for the other people who don't want to be in a dream. And we're going to do something like Atlas Shrugged, because if we all kind of get out of the normal world economy and just focus on benefiting each other rather than all of the crazy people, then we're going to be okay, even while they're screwed up. And eventually more of those guys will hit rock bottom, and they'll start to say, we don't want to be screwed up anymore, and then
Yeah.
maybe they'll come around and join us.
Yeah. Let me ask you about Urbit. Have you ever heard of Urbit?
Yes, I don't know too much about it, but I know that was an earlier project of some of the Twitch guys, right?
Oh, really? Oh, I didn't know that.
That's the one with the planets, right? Where there's like
With the planets and the comets and spaceships, and they got their own dictionary over there.
yeah, okay. I mean, I don't really know much about it, so I don't think I have any information on that, but I've heard of it.
Okay. Well, I bring it up because Urbit is one of those things where it's like people. It's like for all the utopianists, right, in the world, they see Urbit as like this technology that is, taking us there. But what I think, I mean, first off, Urbit originally was the personal project of Curtis Yarvin, who's a interesting guy. Do you know Curtis?
Nope.
So Curtis is like he's the inventor of the term the red pill.
Oh, okay.
So he's like the one who originally took the metaphor. I don't know what came first. Not probably the Matrix. So he took that out of the Matrix, used it as this idea. Right? No, of course. And then he made
the writers of the Matrix, they got into the manosphere, and they were like, "This is a great metaphor for the Matrix."
Yeah. No, I think he's made. I mean, it's like this weird mimetic, circle or something. Because then the red pill became this whole, like now, like I guess for a while, I don't know if it's still now, but like then it became, man pickup artists and stuff. And then, but he was the original guy, and he wrote. He was like the alt-right before there was an alt-right, and he's like a Berkeley computer scientist guy, and now he's a political guy. And he made the first versions of Urbit, which basically what he was trying to do, this is what he was trying to do, or at least this is what it's become now. Urbit is like a layer 1 that exists on top of Ethereum, I believe, currently. It's
so
like
layer 2.
Right. No, exactly. But the whole idea is to recreate the layer 1 experience, right? Which I think is so
Why? What? But
So
what?
funny.
Why? What is the point?
Exactly. Exactly, Daniel. This is what's remarkable about it, right? Their whole thing is that they've basically like, okay, from this is my understanding. They've like created, like, it's like if you took, the Linux kernel or something, and then you created, Shinix kernel on top of it, right? So it's like a virtual machine or something, that's
That's so
running
it's a
on
virtual Unix running on top of Linux. So there's no
type
point. You're saying,
type
okay,
thing
no,
because
I
it has its own
okay.
like
What? But why?
assembly.
Why are we talking about
Okay, we're
this?
talking about it. We're talking about it because this is like uh, in my opinion, or from my perspective, this is like what everybody is looking at as like the most exciting project on the web,
You
right?
mean just
Which,
from like where you are in
yeah, of
where?
course, from my limited perspective, but like I think
Yeah.
in terms of like popularity, mainstream adoption, like they're like throwing big conferences and stuff. This is like what people
Okay.
are looking at. This is like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? It
Well,
may it's
just don't worry about it.
all right. Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
But
I
let
won't.
me give you my thoughts on the red pill since you brought that up.
Yeah.
So first of all, there's a really important video that you should watch called Scientology, the Matrix, and something. Anyway,
Okay.
it's really good. Maybe you can. I'll try to find it for you after the discussion.
Yeah.
But what the person who made the video is a former Scientologist called Aaron Smith Levin, and he says that the Matrix is almost exactly like Scientology,
Mm,
and Morpheus is L. Ron Hubbard, and Neo is like the initiate. So the way Scientology used to attract people um, before they stopped growing, they haven't been growing in a long time, but back when they were gaining popularity, they would tell people that they were going to get superpowers from doing Scientology, and they would like be able to see the lines of code in the Matrix. Metaphorically, they didn't say literally that, but that
yeah.
was like the idea. Um, and as you go into Scientology, you become more and more engaged in a fantasy world that was invented by L. Ron Hubbard that involves all of these hidden spirits everywhere. So when you start with Scientology, they say that it is not religious, or that it's compatible with all other religions. I mean, obviously, they do say it is a religion because they want to get tax exempt status, but
Right.
they say it's compatible with all religions, and they don't have metaphysical beliefs. But then, as you get farther into it, they tell you that they're thetans, which are souls, and they exist in a different metaphysical state than bodies. So
Right.
they do have metaphysical beliefs, and then you learn that eventually you learn that there's a lot more thetans, and they're everywhere, and they're causing all psychological problems. So they try to bring you to this point where you start out where Scientology just sounds like techniques like meditation or psychotherapy or something, and then they get you to this point where um, you are completely engaged in this pure fantasy world, and then you'll do whatever you're told, because they'll just say that it's to fix up your thetans or something. So whatever you're supposed to do, and you believe that Scientology is the most important thing there is, so you're going to do
Yeah.
whatever you can give up for it. So really, like, the red pill is not the truth. The red pill is what the cult is telling you, and the blue pill is the truth. Um, so, because the blue pill is just the normal, boring world, that's and the red pill is the imaginary world.
Right.
So, the red pill is a really bad metaphor, and it makes sense in the context of the movie, because um, Morpheus does not use science or like objective information to explain the truth to Neo. He does more like this this dramatic spiritual kind of thing. I mean, somebody who says that they know the truth, I mean, you should you need to, if they, if they say they have the truth, you need evidence, and you need to evaluate that yourself before you say it's the truth. If someone just says they have the truth, you can't just like take whatever they give you.
Well, and then it's like the you can only be convinced about the Matrix if you look at like a alien pod, like everybody's in pods getting like the life energy sucked out of them. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah,
it
but you
always
could
has,
just you could just as easily say that that stuff is the imaginary world, like the
well,
real Matrix.
exactly,
Maybe you're being kind of like in oh, what's that other one? What's that Arnold Schwarzenegger movie? The one Total Recall,
Total Recall.
where
Yeah,
he's remembering his secret life as a secret agent, but really all of that stuff is from a game that he was playing, and he forgot that he was playing the game.
yeah,
And so anyway, but I do think that the red pill in the context of the manosphere, that is good. It is like everybody is in a cult,
yeah,
and so I think the red pill consists of two distinct ideas, and those are gynocentrism and uh, oh shit, what's the other? Hypergamy. That's the other
right.
word.
Yeah, yeah,
I didn't quite remember it for a second there, but
yes,
so gynocentrism means that everything that the opposite of everything that feminists say is true,
right.
and so there's this group called the men's rights advocates,
Yeah,
who are like the inverse of the feminists.
yeah. So
So,
they claim. So they claim. Yeah,
well, I think they are like that. And so I don't think that they are ever going to, I don't think we're ever going to get rid of gynocentrism,
mm,
because to me that kind of makes sense. I mean, I think that it makes sense with regard to biology, you know.
right.
Um
Well, we're like becoming like a matriarchal because like that. I mean, there are many parts of the world that are uh, matriarchal, and I think you can see, us
but
heading that way. But yeah,
they would say that any society, they would say that a patriarchal society is still gynocentric, because the uh, the men who are running everything are doing it for women. So men are
right,
taking risks to try to protect women, and they're
yeah,
putting women first. But as I said, I think that makes sense. I mean, I think if you don't do that, you're probably not going to be better at reproducing. So your DNA is going to go away. So
yeah,
I think that's a stable strategy. And hypergamy, that has to do with what women are attracted to, and it means that uh, women are looking for the the top man, um, and so there's another group. Um, well, I don't know what to call them. I guess I would say there's some people who think that all women are bad because of hypergamy.
right.
But I
That's
would
the
say,
that would popularly known as the incels,
yeah, or
which is not really accurate.
the MGTOW,
The what? Oh yes, yes,
MGTOW,
the MGTOW.
men going
Yeah,
their own way. Yeah.
right.
Um, but
But really, they're just the gamers.
but I
They're,
think, but I think, uh, I don't know. I think people are mad about being lied to. because they didn't
That's right.
know
Yes.
about hypergamy growing up. And
Well, and we and I mean you're raised on, myself growing up in like liberal California, you're raised on the idea that you're basically raised on like a secular genderism, that there is no differences between the sexes. There is no, like, I don't know. It's like this complete kind of innocence, absence of nature where, it's like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing. And I think, people are mad about being lied to, which is like the real core of the problem, rather than women are bad and,
well, yeah, well,
or you're ugly or something. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want success, you should be happy about understanding the truth, even if you spent a long time believing a lie before. That's a lot of time lost, but it's also well, it's you still want the truth. I mean, you want to understand things. You can't just like live in regret forever,
Right.
So like I guess I guess they're they're angry because they were imagining that they would find a woman who would love them the same way that they loved her, and then they're like, well, that's not how it works. But
right. I think media has a lot to do with this. Like you
but
get
well,
yeah.
I think there's an important way that women are also being deceived. So I think if you understand that kind of resolves a lot of the problems that people have been having too.
Right.
So a woman can't just easily find a new man forever. There's a point. Women are most attractive when they're younger. So there's a point where they can't do that anymore, and the more that they do something like that, the less attractive they are to men, and that's what they've been lied about. So what we have now is a bunch of women who are telling themselves that they can keep doing this forever, and
Right.
there's never going to be a problem. But if they were to understand that they can't from an earlier age, then they would also know that that they need to find a good man early on, and then once they do that, then after a point they're kind of stuck with it.
Right.
Then that would make her want to do a better job investing in the relationship.
Well, let me ask you this. Where we are in our societal, current zeitgeist paradigm, whatever. Let's say that hyper Bitcoinization happens tomorrow, and every single person on the planet, or let's just say Western society, every person in Western society is, more financially free than they ever have been. Do you think that would, with our current understanding of things, do you think that would lead to like more, couples from a young age having kids at a young age, or would it just lead to more separation between the sexes and more like single men and women kind of like staying partnerless for most of their lives? I guess what I'm really asking is like, how, in your opinion, do you think we're biologically tied to creating those kinds of structures, or is it something that like society could completely destroy out of you and you just don't desire it at all, which is,
well, I
feel.
don't think humans have a fixed nature, because there's evolution, and now people are starting to understand genetic engineering, so there's the potential that people are going to evolve a lot faster than they did before. But you can't, you can't escape reality. So ultimately, people have to live, they have to, they have to live in ways that are aligned with their success. And if they don't, then their DNA goes away eventually. And I think people have instincts that are good, that are based on what was successful in the past. And I don't think everything that was successful in the past is good now. I mean, I think you always need to be like an entrepreneur, and that means understanding the future. And to me, the future of anyway, part of the reality that people have to live with is economics. And to me, that is the big thing that is missing from people right now, is a failure to understand economics. And I think that if we look at human instinct, and we look at traditional gender roles, which I don't think are traditional. I think they're a lot older than that. I think they're instinctive.
Right.
So not just cultural.
Well, yeah, traditional is, man-made. Right.
Yeah, right. So I think you can explain traditional so-called gender roles in terms of economics, and they're based on
the feminists would hate that one. Just explaining it economics.
Okay, well, they can just have no children,
Yeah.
then they'll all be gone in the next generation.
Right.
So but I think the future of humanity is people who do understand economics. And so it's not just going to be, it shouldn't just be about instinct. It should be about strategy. So I think in the future, people are going to be thinking consciously about what is going to maximize reproduction, instead of just, I don't know, just kind of doing it. I think people are going to have to plan their lives around their reproductive strategy. See what I mean?
Can I ask you something that is a little galaxy brained?
Okay.
Just to get your perspective. Do you think before Homo sapiens, let's just say before Homo sapiens, or before humans really started using tools and stuff, do you think economics existed?
Well, yeah, of course.
So
Economics is just groups acting under incentives. So I would say economics is really the same kind of theory that we use in social evolution. The only difference is that in economics, we usually aren't thinking about reproduction as the ultimate end, and we're thinking in kind of shorter terms. But there's no reason you can't think farther out. There's no reason you can't make it all about reproduction ultimately. But
why is what is the correlation between reproduction as like the ultimate desirable end, and how people think of economics today as like the study of finance?
Well, so I wouldn't say that economics is the study of finance. I would say it's the study of human action, which is how Mises defined
I agree.
it.
But people, that's what people kind of think of as economics.
Sure. Well, like money is. I think money is a an outgrowth of the value of society. So I think humans are social animals, and society is a big part of being human. And being better at being a social animal is a survival strategy and a reproductive strategy. And that's a big thing that the women are looking for in mates. You know, they're looking for the best social animal, and so and money is a way of getting resources out of society. So and it's good because it makes you pay in before you take out. So it means there's it means that people aren't going to be running out of things because somebody used them all up. So you have to do something to get money before you can spend it. So money is like having resources, and it's like being the fattest buck. It's like having the biggest territory, but it's more like an idea instead of a physical territory. But that's what matters with humans. That's like uh, ideas are very, very important for humans. So a an imaginary territory can be really important.
So
Oh, but I didn't completely answer your previous question about hyper Bitcoinization, right? But I think Bitcoin is something that is good for it's good for people who want success. It's not good for exploiting people, and most of the stuff we have from before Bitcoin is good for exploiting people, and
well,
not as good for just ensuring that everybody is successful.
I
So
so I have a question. I guess I feel like this is something that has not really been talked about, which is that in a hyper Bitcoinization future or post Bitcoin future, um, everybody will be to take the way Jack has talked about it. Everybody will be less dependent on the system or even idea of finance, right? So like
well, yeah, Bitcoin is the system. So yeah,
right.
I mean,
So
yeah,
you can trust in every other Bitcoiner to basically improve your own financial situation. So like the idea of like, I know all the BTC morons, they like to talk about this idea of like freedom, right? But like this is like a true kind of freedom, right? This is like a a a trustless reliance on every other Bitcoiner, right?
yeah. Well, yeah, trustless. Yeah. So
Yes.
right, and it's about economics. So really, it's a change in how defensive you have to be. So yeah, in
Right.
the pre-Bitcoin world, you have to be very defensive, and the main thing you're thinking about with other people is how to prevent them from exploiting you. But post Bitcoin, it's less about worrying about who's exploiting you, because Bitcoin handles so much of the security that wasn't being done before, and now it's more. And there's this shared interest, right? Because everybody has the same money,
Right.
and the money can become more valuable in a way that previous forms of money can't. So
Right.
they all have this this incentive to grow the economy, and that just means making everything better for everybody else. I mean, it's a world where the way to grow the most is to ensure that everybody else grows. So
Right. Which is
it's a
brilliant.
right. It's a cooperative system. So
Right.
it's a cooperation competition. So yeah, it's really like a step forward. It's like taking this idea that I just gave you about competing to be the best social animal and just taking that to its logical conclusion.
Right.
So
Which
um,
again I think is brilliant. It's like what we all want. We all think is this step forward in the right direction. You know. But I guess the question I want to ask is like, what does that do for humans, and like, what does that make us in terms of social animals? Because like again, it's the kind of thing where like we we are relying on each other in a much more kind of like transient and like invisible kind of way, right? We no longer need to like even the idea that like just here's as a concrete example, Jack was saying that the killer Bitcoin app that will kick off hyper Bitcoinization will be made by like one person or two people, right?
Yeah.
Which like
Yeah.
probably has a lot of truth to it. But my question is, does that mean that we no longer have to like team up? Does that mean we no longer have to get into groups or have social engagements or like, you know, marry women or like, you know, like no longer have to, well, that, you know, arguable, but let's
No,
say
I don't
no
think
longer have
that's no,
okay.
I don't think um so well I mean I think it makes sense to think of Bitcoin as a whole as being like one big company, and companies within Bitcoin are you know they are you know they're convenient for some purposes, but ultimately like everybody's best strategy is to work for Bitcoin instead of working entirely for their company, which is
Yeah.
what people do now. And so what I would say is, so yeah, we all need to cooperate, and that's going to be better for everybody. And like a killer app of Bitcoin is you know there's a lot more that's needed than just something that's going to be popular and bring everybody in, because there's the whole rest of the economy that we need to work on. So I
Right.
mean there's growing food, and there's building buildings, there's construction, there's
Right.
trade, there's supply lines, there's just the whole economy. So um, that's to me, that's what I'm focused on. I'm not really worrying about a killer app or anything. I just think economic growth is what we need. And
Sure.
yeah, maybe there's going to be something that's going to attract lots of people in. But to me, like I'm happy the way things are now. Not that I won't be a lot happier if we get a lot more people in, but to me, the Bitcoin economy we have now is good, and we need to grow it. And with the people we have now, we can have a great economy that's
Well, I
going
was
to be
saying,
better than the one outside.
I will say that, yeah, I mean, the thing that I was kind of getting at is like in that post Bitcoin world, I feel like humans will organize themselves differently. And I think that's, you know, it's going to be interesting to see. And I do have to say that from Jack's two qualifications of what will be the, so-called killer app are that it will uh, allow people to make Bitcoin very easily, like more so than anything today, and that it will uh, allow for the like the heightened and reliable validity of information. And
Okay.
I gotta say that what we've looked at today with Ask Bitcoin and the POW Stream, is it called? Yeah, POW Stream.
Yeah.
These fulfill that criteria for me, especially once that CPU mining is unlocked for people to, go ahead and try it. That's
Yeah. Well.
you know,
Well. Okay. Yeah. Let me answer that. And yeah. Well. Thanks. I'm glad you're encouraged by what we're doing. So I think that people are pack animals, and so like wolves, and a a wolf pack is a family unit. And so there's like the parents and children, and then there can also be related wolves that don't have their own pack, like uncles and things. Um, and the um, uh, the way that that predators like wolves attack is that they have to there has to be a designated leader, and then everybody else follows the leader, because somebody has to pick the prey, and they're typically, or they can go after prey that's a lot bigger than they are, so they need to all work together, and they need to all agree on who they're going to attack, or else that prey is probably going to kill them instead.
Mm.
And so people back in the day, people lived in tribes, and a tribe is a group that derives from a common ancestor, or they say they do. So like the 12 tribes of Israel, right? They say that there was a man called Jacob, who is the father of all of the Israelites, and then there were 12 tribes, and they come from each of his 12 sons.
Right.
And so the tribe is like a wolf pack, except that the leader is long dead, and he's an idea instead of a living animal, but there's still a family unit. And so I think later on what happened was that the past father was replaced by a pure idea that exists as a brood parasite on humans. So a brood parasite is like the cuckoo bird, and what that does is that it goes into the nest that lays its eggs in the nests of different birds. It doesn't have its own nest.
Yeah.
And then when it hatches, it throws the other birds out, and it can imitate the call of the baby birds.
Very sly. Very sly.
Then the parents feed it everything, and they don't get to have their own children. So if you look at the book Leviathan by Thomas Hobbes, there is a man on the cover that's made out of lots of little people. And I think he's like the surrogate father, because he's like he's sovereignty, and he's like the state, and all the little people that make him up are the citizens. And he looks like a father. He's like a god, but people don't believe in him like a god. But the picture is like a religious image. And but the people don't necessarily have a genuine shared interest, I would say, because they're not any longer all of the descendants of a single father. And I think that with money, people have a shared interest again, even if they're not closely related to one another. And using the same money is kind of like being siblings. It's like something that puts it in your interest to make other people grow. And so in the past, the kind of monies we have not been very good for that, especially the recent past. But
Right.
Bitcoin is like something that is good for that. So to me, like, Bitcoin is something, and so I think. Well, wait, I'm not quite done. Let me finish.
Sorry.
I think Bitcoin is like, so I think, as I said, I think people are like predator animals, and what happened in the past is people changed. People kept this pack behavior, but it was used to prey on members of the pack instead of on prey. So I think that's how people are acting now. And so so what the incentive is right now is to act more like a prey animal, so that you can do a better job running away from these predators, which people aren't doing so well right now. And to me, Bitcoin is like a style of organization that's like being the prey animal. So I think the future, if you want to imagine the future of Bitcoin society, I think you have to think about predator animals who have to learn how to act like prey animals. And you think about like the previous society as being like a pack. Think about how things change if they start acting like a herd instead. And that's really unappealing to people, I found, because I think people like imagining themselves as the predator animals, and then they don't like, but it's not about trying to be appealing, it's about survival. So sorry, but that's I think that's your incentive right now. So
people are like, I'm not a gazelle, I'm a lion.
Right. So and the proof of work, that's like growing horns, and that's a costly signal, and it's an easy way to look at other people that you don't know, and learning important information about them, which is something that we're missing now. Right now, everybody's trapped in a mesh network, which is okay if you've got a really small group, and but well, if you got a small group, then it's easy to be a small world network, even if you don't have too many connections. But now everything has to go through these hierarchies that we have, and that's how people get trapped, and people don't have a way of getting out and maintaining their connection to one another. So I think this kind of explains the failure of the libertarians before this point, because they're kind of like people who want to escape, and they don't care about not being connected to each other very well. They just want to get out, and they don't. I mean, this isn't inherent in the idea of libertarianism, but I would say what we have seen of real life libertarians is that they don't understand how to maintain that connection once they get out, and they're not very good at it. And
well, isn't there like an irony inherent, in the idea itself? Because it's like you want to break free of a herd, and then you form a herd with like now you have a label, libertarian, and now you're in a group with the other people that broke free of the herd, forming a herd.
Well, I mean, I think I think the market is like a herd, but I think people are really bad at it. And so I think people just need to get better at it, but I don't really understand your point about leaving a herd to make a new herd. I mean, what is the irony there?
Because my understanding is that libertarians are interested in like living outside of what they see as like group. Well, okay, this is not to do with libertarians really. Let's say that libertarians have like, I'm talking about like the idea that it's the irony of like, let's say like the people that wanted Trump before Trump ever ran for president, at least in the recent years, like the people that were like Tea Party type people before there was even a Tea Party. They're like, well, we resent this party, we resent that party, we resent the idea of parties, and then they leave, and then they end up forming a party. Like they end up, you know what I mean? It's like the idea is like it's not to like put them down or criticize them. It's just like it's the natural thing for somebody with some sort of divergent thought to eventually find others with that divergent thought and form a group, right? Even if the root of your divergent thought was to get out of the group.
Well, I mean, I don't think there are very many people who don't want to be part of a group. I mean, I think nearly everybody wants to be part of a group. What they want is the group to be good. But I think people have not had a good understanding about how to form good groups in the past, and they keep recreating this pack structure over and over again that isn't really very good for as it gets bigger. As it gets too big, it'll turn into something exploitative, and that has to do with the shape of the network. But Bitcoin solves this by giving us the small world network configuration and the proof of work system. So that means that it's very parasitic. People can't take it over, because the way that you get bigger in Bitcoin is by benefiting everybody else. And if you're a parasite, then that's something you just don't know how to do,
Right. Well, yeah, I think that, I mean, that's absolutely true. Like people, I think a problem today is that people group around essentially charismatic individuals, right? Like,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
So
And that's never going to work, because people who get famous are all narcissists. Or I should say,
yes.
people who are motivated to get famous are all narcissists. So among famous people, there's a big bias towards narcissism, and it gets stronger the bigger the group you're talking about. That. So yeah, right now we've got this problem where everybody who has a big voice is a narcissist. So, and it's like everybody's in an abusive relationship, because because the people they like, that they have parasocial relationships with, are all narcissists. So yeah, it's like well, I mean, it is an abusive relationship. So anybody famous that you are addicted to listening to, you should break up with them.
Yeah, I mean, and and famous is relative too, right? Because like there are like some people who have like their 10,000 Twitter followers, and those followers are die hard. You feel famous among them. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, fame is relative, I think, and the people that group around charismatic individuals are drawn into that sort of a structure, and ideology is currently the thing that glues them all together, and that's a weak glue, in my opinion. Whereas Bitcoin,
the big problem is that people don't have a way, if they congregate around charismatic individuals, they don't have a way of making group decisions. They kind of have to go along with those charismatic individuals.
right.
And that's a big problem we have now, because you always have to take package deals with everything. Because you have to take like the whole picture of whatever the charismatic person is offering to you, and instead of like lots of little choices over details, you don't get to be involved in that. But yeah, these are all things that are we can that so well with the proof of work upvote system, all of that gets fixed, because we don't even have to think about who created the content. There isn't like one person making the content, and there's this big list of content that is like the person at the center. But anybody can gain the attention of the audience whenever they feel like it. Instead of being people with audiences, there's one audience, and anybody can get the attention of that audience whenever they want. So we don't have charismatic individuals anymore, and we don't have package deals anymore. It's going to be all about nuanced choices about tiny things.
Yeah, and you know, which is brilliant. And I do think, like, the way that you said that, I really do think that eventually the UI and the skin and the feel of it will be really important. You know what I mean? Because I do think, like, I do think that, because, like, when you have a lot of people, when that audience gets huge, because, like, the way I'm seeing it is almost like, you know, like the Stack Exchange, like, family of sites and stuff. You know, like,
Well, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, people who demand a good UI or a pretty presentation, they can all get abused by narcissists.
okay, no. You, but when you put it that way, you're right. What I'm saying is that I want it to be, I want to very smoothly and quickly find topics, not even answers, topics, right, that I'm interested in, and, like, be allowed to kind of, or be, you know, be drawn to the being, have it set up in such a way where I'm able to, like, find the thing that I'm interested in, and then the answer, of course, by nature of the system, will be the most relevant answer. You know.
Well, on average,
Yeah.
Graffin showed that the costly signal is on average correlated with the value. But I would say Boost is good for new information. So it's good if you have a question that nobody's answered yet, or that at least something
Cool.
that isn't common knowledge. But if
Right.
you're talking about, like, you know, if you're talking about things that are like, well, if you're talking about things that have objective answers, like something in science or something, well, I mean, I still think Boost is good for that, but it's not as big a difference from what we had before.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
it's pretty easy to find objective answers on the internet still, even though there's some things where there's lots of propaganda about them. But if you want to ask a question like, what should we do next, you can't just use a search engine for that. You know, that needs
Yeah.
a discussion. So
Right. Hmm. Okay. Can I ask you about another current event? Maybe you
okay,
can.
but let's let's wrap things up pretty soon. It's been
Okay.
been a
All
long
right. All
time.
right. We'll make this the final
Last
game.
question.
Yeah. The last question is, there's a lot of hullabaloo about the Bitcoin node software having introduced a way to reclaim or actually, I don't really know how it works, so maybe you could probably even help me understand that. But, like, there's well, I guess it's a fork, right? It, like, it forks the chain to move coins and addresses where, you know, miners have a consensus on where they should go. And well, okay, I guess my first question is, hasn't that always been a part of Bitcoin? Like, the ability to do that? If every miner just agreed that this coin belongs here, that could be done. Like, what is the structural change really that's happening with this? And then,
Yeah.
secondly, your opinion on the idea of it.
Okay. Sure. Well, yeah. Yeah. Good question. So, well, Craig Wright would say that Bitcoin is a contract, and that therefore it's not true that the miners can just do anything or arbitrarily reassign coins if they wanted. And I would say that economically, you would expect that miners would not want to pull stunts like that. So so there's also an economic protection, but contractually, the rules of Bitcoin were given at the beginning, and you can't change them. And an illegal contract, well, or there's no such thing as an illegal contract. So something that had the form of a contract but was illegal would not would not mean anything in court. It wouldn't be enforceable. So so Bitcoin has to involve following relevant laws that have to do with freezing and seizure. So and so I think that what we get with this is a lot better than the alternative, which is not your keys, not your coins, taken to the logical conclusion. So I mean, I think if you say not your keys, not your coins, that's that's not literally true, but it's still basically, that's still important. Like that's still something that will help people to understand that it's not good to keep their coins on exchanges or something like that. But if we say not your keys, not your coins to the logical conclusion, we've got a big problem, because then that's encouraging crime, and it means that if you fall victim to a rubber hose attack, that there's no recourse to it. And I mean, it's kind of absurd to say, like, if you lose your keys, then those coins can never then they're just gone. I mean, there is a legal concept of ownership that's not the same thing as physical control. And so this idea of the Bitcoins turn from gold to lead and then back to gold again, that's really good. And I don't think that the legal system that we have now is free of exploits, shall we say. But ultimately, I think it's going to be in the miners' business interests to try to make the legal system as good as it can be, into something that really follows the ideal of equality before the law. And so not something that turns a blind eye to what the elites are up to, where they're above the law. And hopefully not something that's as expensive as it is now too. So I think that the I think that this goes back to this attitude that I was talking about with libertarians, where what they want to do is escape, and they want to live in like the wild west or something, which there's some good things about that, but that's not really something that they can actually do. I'm not saying that if we could go back to the Wild West, that would be all bad, but that's not really something that you can actually do today.
Well, it wouldn't be great either.
Well, I don't know. There's some fun things about it.
Definitely some fun things. Bring back saloons and honky tonk pianos and all that.
But so I think that what I think that the controversy surrounding this issue has to do with people who believed that their coins could never be seized as long as the keys remain secret. But that's not how Bitcoin can work if it's going to be successful and have 5 billion users. I mean, not million. How it's gonna it won't work. It won't work the other way. So I guess I would say, like, if you had the wrong idea before, that's excusable because there was so much misinformation. But like, as an entrepreneur, you need to keep learning. So you can't just stick with some idea about what Bitcoin is good for when it's really not good for that. Because what we want is success. And if you're trying to make Bitcoin do something that it's not good for, then that's not success. That's the opposite of success. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're using one of these so-called privacy coins like Monero and some of these other things that claim that you can't track transactions with them and so on, the economic result of that is that it brings you closer to criminals. Whereas if we have something that where coins can be frozen and returned to their legitimate owner, then that's something that takes you away from criminals.
Right.
And I mean, we've got a problem now where the the institutions and the legal system are being controlled by criminal organizations. But so that's a big problem. But I think the way that I think Craig Wright's idea with gold to lead to gold, that still makes things better. That's still an improvement.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to deal with the globalist elites, as time goes on. That's
Right.
part of success, getting rid of them.
Agreed. I mean, and I think, think everybody who lost BTC on FTX wishes they could, do that right now. Everybody who lost on Mt. Gox wishes they could just do that right now. If those addresses were legit and they were actually just, holding whatever, if in that address and stuff, you could conceivably just recover it all immediately, instead of, who knows what insane system they had going where everything was blended together and given to all kinds of parties and all that. So, my real question is how cumbersome is that process, because if we're talking about like how many times a day does a credit card charge get reversed, right? I'm not saying that's necessarily the right indicator, but like how many times a day does like a fraudulent transaction happen that somebody wishes could be reversed? I wonder, how cumbersome is that going to be? Is it the type of thing that happens every day? Is it something that happens every week, every month, every year? Like,
well, Craig Wright has said that it's going to cost about $50,000 to go to court and get an order to reassign coins. So it's really only good for big amounts.
And we have to trust that, anything less than that amount of money will just not be as big of a threat, or like you'll be safer, generally speaking, in a Bitcoin economy.
Well, I mean,
anybody can
I don't know why. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think I would want to make. I would want the legal system to be a lot cheaper. So, I mean, I think that would be something that would make things better for everybody if you could bring the cost down for the legal system. And to me, that's what capitalism is all about. And that's a big problem with the legal system, is that capitalism hasn't really worked its way into that too deeply.
Yeah.
But anyway, you said that was going to be the last question. So,
Can I ask one final little baby question?
Okay. Okay.
Let's say, all right, given what we just discussed, let's say in the future when you have 5 billion people using Bitcoin, and there's miners in every country in the world, right? What happens when one block of the world rejects this idea? Like, let's say, like somebody, we need to reassign this world leader's, or this world leader defrauded his entire population, and we're gonna, seize the coins and return them. And one block of the world just completely says no, and they fork, and now you have two Bitcoins. Do you see that being a potential issue?
Well, yeah, it could be. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that could happen. Well, I guess I'll say I'm not worried about it, because if that did happen, that would mean Bitcoin was really successful. So, um,
Yeah, and
let's hope that becomes possible someday.
and the fork would become, it would be like where we are today, where the fork would become the less successful Bitcoin, and so they would die out in the long term.
Sure. Well, I mean, I think if you didn't have a legal solution, then you would have a hash war, which the miners would want to get over as quickly as possible. So, every as long as there's two chains, that's value being lost. So, I think we'd see one chain losing value and the other one gaining value until there was just it was basically one chain.
All right. Okay, Daniel, thank you so much for coming on here with me and showing off the amazing things that you've been working on, which I'll put links and stuff in the description, and people can see. We have askbitcoin.ai, not with the next in front of it, but hopefully that one will come up soon, because I like that one. And POW Stream, which is really cool. People have been upvoting our videos, which is great. Everybody should go upvote this one. And
yeah, good point.
and
I'm sure that will happen.
yeah, I mean, I like this interface a lot. I mean, this is pretty slick. I could definitely see. I don't want to see that, but I would definitely like to see. I could definitely I watch a shit ton of YouTube, more than I
Well,
should.
remember,
So
it's on average proportional to fitness. So just because a
right.
video is there does not mean that it's good. But if you're looking for a good video, you'll find it quicker
Yeah.
via this method.
Well, my YouTube, all I watch on YouTube is like Pokemon finance videos and music. Music. Oh, that's our next guest, by the way. We're gonna have the legendary Pokemon finance tuber on. We're the only
What is Pokemon finance?
Oh, well, so the Pokemon makes trading cards, right? I'm sure you're familiar.
Oh, okay, that kind of thing.
And
Okay, so
and
you're
it's
talking
like you
about
can,
like speculating on cards. Okay.
yes, speculating and also collecting and all that. It's a
Okay. Well,
great
yeah,
hobby.
you'd better issue new Pokemon cards on RelayX.
I better what now?
Show them how to issue new Pokemon cards as
On
NFTs
RelayX.
on RelayX. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we might be interested in doing that first, but I hope eventually. Well, we'll see. I'm very interested, because a company as big as Pokemon, there's no way that they haven't kind of explored the option. So we'll see
Yeah.
what happens
But
with all that.
I mean, what do you know about BSV? Or you probably looked at Ethereum
Wow.
or something. But
Well, I can't wait, and I'll just knock on the Pokemon company's door, and they'll take a look at me and definitely listen to what I have to say.
yeah,
So,
yeah, definitely.
so
Okay.
well,
Well, yeah,
yeah,
nice talking to you, and
as always,
yeah, thanks for inviting me on, and glad you enjoyed, and
we'll do it again soon, and I will. Everybody, get ready to upvote what I post on Ask Bitcoin, because I got a lot of questions, so I'm going to need a lot of answers. Thanks a lot again, Daniel, and everybody. We'll probably go live again tomorrow night. And now that I've figured out how to go live, I'll probably go live a lot more often. In fact, I think what I'll do is like watch YouTube videos live and just like react to them and call them out and call them names and stuff. So we'll see. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks again, Daniel, and I'll see everybody soon.
Okay, see you around. Thank you.